Welcome to The Exclusive. I'm your host, Sharon Tharp. I'm very excited to be joined by my friend, the winner of Big Brother 23, a finalist in the BB Reindeer Games, Xavier. Xavier, thank you for joining me. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. This was a lot
Good.
of fun. Probably more fun than I thought. And I'm curious what you thought going in when you got that call. You're like, oh, this seems like a little, yeah. Tell me about that. And then how did the show play out for you?
It seemed like it was going to be real cute. It seemed like it was going to be really like, oh, that's cute. We're going to go. We're going to do like some Big Brother staple competitions, and it'll be so much fun. And then like we get in there, and it was just like the intensity and like the quickness of the game felt like an elongated double eviction. Like that's pretty much what it felt like every single day. It was the same energy you get during a double eviction, but for like 8 hours a day. And it was
Mm,
just like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought we were going to be doing here. I thought we were all going to kind of hang out for 10 days, have like some competitive fun, but not really anything like that's forcing us to be like cutthroat or anything like that. And it was just, that was not, they pretty much took every like crazy idea they've been wanting to use on a regular season and just threw it at us. And I was like, okay, got it. Now I see what I got myself into. This is gonna be fun. This is gonna
yeah.
be great.
I feel like the producers seem to be adapting too, because I don't know if it's one of you guys on TikTok or Instagrams. Somebody said that like there might not have been conversations between decisions, but you guys were like, well, can we talk to people? Like, so
Yeah.
it's interesting that was sort of
No.
added to the whole dynamic.
What like in the dynamic? You mean like the fact that we couldn't like kind of talk to each other in between like decisions?
Yeah, like I don't remember if it was
Oh
Kim
yeah. No.
or someone said,
No.
go ahead.
Yeah. No. That was 100%. Like the amount of time that you had to socialize with others or like strategize was like so like a
Yeah.
lot of this, there were some decisions being made with like sometimes you barely got to talk to like the last person before you heard the sleigh bells ringing and you were like, oh, okay, i'm gonna I'm gonna go do this potential game changing decision now off very little information that I obtained in about 25 minutes after talking to 8 people.
Yeah.
It was like that's a very different dynamic from like traditional big brother. You have a competition and then you have days days to form genuine relationships, days to strategize and think about what decision makes the most sense from every possible angle.
Mhm.
Here, it was like, okay, I think you might be a threat. You're going in, and that was pretty much it. It was like, do people perceive you as a threat? Do they not perceive you as a threat? And if they perceive you as a threat, it's kind of based off of traditional Big Brother and like those competitions where these were vastly different.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious when you got the phone call, was there hesitation or were you like, all right, it's a week or two, I can win 100 grand, no brainer? Or like, was it an
Yeah.
immediate yes or no?
No, there was hesitation for several reasons. Part of the reason for hesitation is like just money, and just like I'm showing up, I want to get paid. But like, there was also the aspect of like, okay, last time I went on a show and they told me there was going to be other winners, I felt like I was kind of led to believe there would be other Big Brother winners, and then I showed up and it was just me, and I was like, oh, ho, ho, ho. But I'm Murray, you sneaky little dogs. And so I was like, I'm not about to let myself get played again. But through my own kind of deductive reasoning, I guess, or deductive logic, I was like, okay, CBS has a policy in place. They're bringing back Big Brother winners. I was like, okay, there's only like a certain amount of us. So I was like, if I don't see Josh, Casey, Taylor, June, then like something's gone very wrong.
Mm,
And so like that was something that kind of gave me a little more comfort. And like then ended up seeing 5 winners there, which is the most I think that I've ever been on any version of Big Brother. It gave me a little more comfort for about 5 minutes. And then I was like, oh, so all these people here, you want to look at me. But it was just kind of like, it was cool. It was cool to be in that space with like so many winners who have won in very different ways. But then also you got Danielle Reyes, who's like my favorite player of all time. You got Brittany Haynes, who's responsible for my favorite. I believe her last name is now what, Godwin? Is it Godwin now? Yeah, Brittany Godwin, who's responsible for like my favorite Big Brother moment when she made fun of Boogie as he was getting evicted on Big Brother. Was it 14? Yeah, 14, when she did the Chilltown kind of imitation. My favorite moment, easily. So, and then Cam, he just is coming off 100 days after winning AFP, and then Frankie, who's just this such, and he has such an infectious spirit, and it's just always like he's like an Energizer bunny running around, but like very glitterified. So like it was cool to just be in an environment with all of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, there was definitely some hesitation with going on. Definitely some hesitation. But ultimately, for me, I was kind of like, this actually might be one of the last Big Brother things that I do. Um, and so it was like, 10 days, it makes sense because I was like, I don't know if an all winter season is going to happen. I don't know if there's going to be something else that makes sense for me. So
Mm,
ultimately, this might be it. And so let's see how it goes. And that was kind of what ultimately led me to saying yes.
yeah. Well, speaking of the all winter season, Josh at least said that this kind of gave him the itch to like to do it, to like hoping that they do it. So like, would you be open to it more so now after Reindeer Games, or even or less so? And you're like, eh,
I think probably more of the latter, honestly. It was funny because like Josh is like, bro, I'm never playing Big Brother without you again. And I was just like, oh, Josh, you'd be fine without me. Um, but I think after doing Reindeer Games, I I'm still hesitant on whether or not I think all winter season could happen simply because of just the logistics of it.
yeah,
And like I think this was very doable for a lot of winners to do. And so the fact that it wasn't all winners, I was like, so you want to try to get enough winners to do an all winter season for about like a month or so. Could it happen? Maybe, but I'm still a little more skeptical.
yeah,
And because that like kind of skepticism is also what led me to say yes, because it was like, if an all winter season isn't going to happen, it's probably about as close as I'm going to get. But yeah, as far as like wanting to compete in it, um, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I would say I'm. It would. I would say the money would probably have to be right for me to do that.
that's that's what I said. The money should be upped, and it should be a shorter season.
Yeah,
I think you'll get people.
yeah. I think I won't say no just outright, but like it would. It's got a lot of things got to make sense for me to go back for an all winter season.
That's really fair. So going into this game, we see an alliance of four form with Josh, you, Taylor,
Mhm.
Danielle. How solid was that? And going in, were you like, okay, yeah, these are probably the people I want to work with? Or because I know you also like you're friends with Cody outside the game. Like you have other
Mhm.
relationships. So who did you feel good about?
So coming into the game, I had only met two people in person. That's Taylor and Josh. Cody and I have like talked, and like even Danielle and I have talked, but we had never met in person, and we've only talked like briefly on like the phone or like texting or like DM, like, oh, cool post, like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But like Taylor, I had hung out with before, and like Josh, I had hung out with before. So like I actually had somewhat of a pre-existing relationship with them, but everyone else, it was like my first time meeting them. So like I know coming into this, I think some people thought like socially I was cool with everybody. I was like, not really. Like I had I was cool with like Taylor and Josh, and then like kind of had a relationship with Danielle and Cody, but like Brittany, I had no pre-existing relationship with or any contact with whatsoever. Not with Frankie, not with Cam, not with Nicole. Am I missing one? No, I think that would have been, who am I missing?
I
Who am
know.
I missing?
know.
Who am I blanking on? Well, whoever that last person is, who am I blanking on?
Wait, who is
No,
it?
no. Oh, no, I think that might be everybody if I'm forgetting somebody. Sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't have as many social ties just coming in because like I don't really go to like some of those events and stuff. So like I didn't have opportunities to meet them. So
Mm,
Taylor and Josh I felt good with. And then Cody I felt like kind of solid with, just because I feel like if Cody comes in and he's looking to like aim his gun at people, I don't think I'm gonna be like the first one.
yep.
Like he might aim his gun at me eventually, but I don't think out the gate he's looking my direction. So that's where I was like, I'm probably all right with Cody too. But
Mm,
everybody else, I was like, yeah, they're probably gonna come for me. And I didn't like, because there was only 9 people and it was 6 days. in my opinion, I was like, I don't know how much sense it makes for me to go and make promises to everybody that I know I'm eventually going to have to break. Like, if anything, I'd rather pick my people and be like, this is who I'm rocking with, which means y'all are the only people that I can come with or come after.
It was funny because so we had two of the elves or the helpers, I don't know what you call them, from Big Brother 23 and Tiffany
Yeah.
and Derek there. Obviously, you're the winner of that season. Did you
Yeah.
feel any added pressure that they were there, like watching you? Like, was it weird in that
It
context?
was it was kind of weird just because like I don't know. With people from my season, there's it always at times feels like there's this weird dynamic when it comes to me. Like I
Hmm.
think we all have a genuine like love and support for one another. Despite anything that happened on the Challenge USA, like I truly like love to see them succeed. At times, I feel like they want to see me do well, but at the same time, I also think they get a kick if I don't do well. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they also get like a little chuck. So it's like it's a weird dynamic, and I
Mm,
don't have that with them. Like if they succeed, I'm happy. I don't necessarily care to see them struggle, but if they like can kind of see me struggle, I feel like they get kind of a kick out of it. I don't quite know why, but it is what it is. But for me, I was just like when they came in, I was just happy to see them. Like
yeah.
I don't. Last time I had seen Tiffany and DX would have been I came out to LA with my fiance and we all went out to dinner.
Mm.
So that was the last time I got to see them. So getting to see them again in those cute little elf costumes was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I thought it was like a nice little reunion. Very unexpected.
Yeah.
Uh, I do want to talk about a couple decisions that were made along the way. Like first one, your decision to compete against Nicole and leave Taylor to compete against Frankie. Any regrets there, or is it kind of like you probably would have made the same decision?
Um, honestly, I don't like a lot of these questions are gonna be like hindsight, seeing how things unfolded and then being like, oh well, if this had happened and this happened, that's gonna happen for literally everybody. Like
Yep.
people could be like, oh Taylor, if you don't save Nicole, you might win. And you know what I'm saying? Like that can happen with anybody. So I think where I potentially made a miscalculation when it came to picking Nicole was I was looking at like people and their total number of challenge wins like overall. Frankie had 6 at that point. I believe I had 5. I believe Taylor had 4 and Nicole had 3. But one aspect that I didn't factor in was like how many challenges people won like just by themselves. And what
Oh,
I mean by that is like you can have like a team win and you can have like a partner win, or you have wins where you saw some people in the Naughty and Nice challenge, they're working with others. Like, and then like for example, when Frankie, Brittany, and Nicole were like, okay, everyone pick a person, we're all gonna go down and guess. And then Frankie picked Slasher correctly. Like that was also kind of like even though Frankie won, it was kind of like a team effort. You know what I'm saying?
yep.
But so every win that Nicole had up to that point was like Nicole won it without any help, which is
Mm,
something that like in a 1v1 kind of structure was something that I think I probably should have given a little more credit to.
wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that is very true.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a 1v1 tournament. So like instead of focusing on someone's total number of win, it probably makes a little more sense to focus on how they competed, like the wins that they had individually, how did they do? And Nicole, when she won individually, she was crushing it. And if, I think when you go to like the total number of individual wins on the season, Nicole finished with 5. Like every single win she had was just of her own, kind of capabilities. No help from other people. Like she just won.
Yeah.
So that's where I think, but like the funny thing is, people are like, oh, with the 30-second disadvantage or advantage, why wouldn't you pick Frankie? When I tell you those naughty and nice advantages and disadvantages did nothing, like they were such a non factor every single time. If you don't believe me, go and ask every single person who competed. Ask them, oh, did you feel like the naughty and nice advantage, disadvantage were super impactful? I would say the one that was probably the most impactful was being able to bench somebody. That to
Yep.
me was significant. I think that's significant because you're taking an opportunity away for them to get safety.
Mhm.
Like if she benches Taylor on that, because Taylor won the next Jingle Bell Brawl. If she benches Taylor, who knows what happens.
Good point.
Um, you know what I'm saying? Like so, like that one was significant, but like the one where Josh and I were like, "Hey Taylor, let's not give it to Frankie, give it to one of us." But then like Josh can't see the image on the wall. The way the gingerbread men were set up, you knew exactly how you needed to stack it. So that not being able to see it on the wall didn't matter at all.
Oh, yeah.
It was completely insignificant. And then when Brittany, like the first one, Brittany wins. she's like, oh, I get to give a disadvantage to Cody. Cody had one male card in this slot. And if you ask Brittany, she was like, that did literally nothing. And it didn't. So like a lot of the disadvantages, I didn't pay too much attention to that. I was more so hoping that if I win that challenge, I'll just get leapfrogged to the finals, and then the three of them might have to compete in something because we don't know what the structure is.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it is speculation, a lot of it is assumption. And I was just like, okay, so now I have to set the bracket. Let me pick Nicole because I was like, Taylor, I don't want to go head to head against just because I'd rather, if we're going to meet, let's meet in the final.
Yeah.
And then with Frankie, I was like, I don't think the disadvantage would have been that much of a factor. And ultimately, if I had made it to the finals, I wouldn't have wanted to see probably Taylor or Nicole in that final puzzle. I would rather go against Frankie than Taylor and Nicole in that because I think Taylor and Nicole would have been the best at that puzzle. Not to say Frankie would have been bad. I think
Yeah.
Frankie's good at pretty much anything, but Nicole crushed it, and Taylor was doing very well at that last little snowflake thing. Like I think out of that final four, I would have done the worst at that snowflake easily. Like I was
Interesting.
like, I don't even know who I would want to see in that snowflake. Probably none of you.
They're all like you guys are all pretty well-rounded players, so it is a tough call. I don't.
Yeah, with the bracket, like the way I view it is, no matter who I would have picked, if they beat me, ultimately I picked who beat. You
Yep.
know, like there's so what it was what it was. Either I was going to pick someone and beat them, or I was going to pick them and lose to them. And I
Yep.
ended up losing to the person who won it all, and is arguably the most accomplished woman to ever set foot in the Big Brother house. I don't really take shame in that.
Yeah. I don't
Like
think so.
I'm gonna be all right.
I do want to mention because I'm sure you guys were probably well, not you because you were in the final four, but like it seemed like people were surprised that Nicole and Taylor were in the end. I think fans were surprised. I think it's nice. We saw two women, two female winners,
Mm-hmm.
both from Michigan, which is your home state too, which is pretty cool.
Woo woo
Yeah, like what
woo
did
woo.
two women being in the final? I was happy about that. It was cool.
Oh, that was fantastic. I think when Frankie and I ran out, when you saw people's like reactions
Yeah.
to seeing Frankie and I running out, they were like, "What?" And I, I didn't get it, but I was like, "Yeah, we got our asses beat." Like I don't know. Straight up, Nicole and Taylor came. They said, "Frankie X," and smacked that. Like they whooped us, and I don't. It was what it was. Like, dude, on this day they had our number. Like
Mm,
they won when they needed to the most. That's awesome. Good for them. And it's for Frankie and I. I don't think there's. I we lost to two winners. Like there's no shame in that. And it
nope.
wasn't like I didn't feel any type of way about it, but I think the shock factor is kind of twofold. Like the fact that it was shocking is kind of sad.
It
Like I
is.
get why it is, but it's kind of sad because it shows just how people have been conditioned by traditional kind of Big Brother competitions. Um, that's why walking in, people thought like me, Cody,
Yeah.
Cam. I even heard some people saying Josh, but then like after day two, everyone changed their tone on Josh real quick. They're like, "Oh, Josh, you're coming to the Reindeer Games. Come on, buddy." But me, Cam, and Cody immediately they were like, "These guys got to go." But then, as I would say on day two, people really started to clock in that like, "Oh, really anybody can probably win these competitions. These aren't things that are tailored toward people's physicality, so to speak. They're all pretty equitable, and I think all the comps were equitable. So seeing two women get to the end, and it was funny because like throughout the time there, I'm telling people, I'm like, "Yo, you can beat me at shit. Like y'all can beat me at stuff. Like stop sitting there thinking I'm invincible. I'm not. I promise you, I'm not." And I'm also telling like the women there, which like it would get frustrating because like you could see at times they would feel, and like part of this was I think them leaning into their strategy, but also at the same time I think just in traditional Big Brother competitions, in some competitions going against guys, they felt like they wouldn't have as good of a shot. And I'm like, no, you guys are far more capable than you think you think you are.
Hmm.
And like I would tell them that repeatedly. And then lo and behold, they're kicking all of our asses. So it was like,
Yeah.
told you.
Yeah. That
But
that
yeah, I think that was great.
yeah. When they wanted to do girl, girl, guy, guy, or
Oh
what?
my gosh. I was like, no, no, because if it's some balancing thing, Josh and I are screwed. Like, no, I don't want to be partners with Josh. I want Nicole or I wanted Brittany. Specifically, I wanted Nicole just because Taylor and Frankie were going to be a duo. Taylor
Mm,
and Frankie were a duo. So I'm like, to give me a little bit of cushion, I want Nicole because
mm,
Nicole has a good relationship with Frankie. I have a solid relationship with Taylor. And Nicole also has a decent relationship with Taylor. So if they're sending a duo in, I like our odds for not being sent in.
mm.
So I was like, cool. Like the way those pairs went, I loved it. Because
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't want to be partners with Frankie, and I wanted me and Josh split up. And I would have preferred Nicole just because Frankie and Taylor being partners. I was like, this is great. But Nicole and Brittany were like, I don't know, guys. We just want to work together. And women, I was like, man, forget all that. Forget all that. Let's split this up so we all kind of make it as even a playing field as possible because we don't know what we're gonna see.
Fair. Yeah. One of the big moments I think that I wanted to ask you about is because, you know, I know Danielle wasn't like thrilled that Brittany threw her in, and I've talked to both of them about that. But like, you were sort of involved because I think at least what Brittany told me today was that the moment that you were really pushing to save Danielle kind of clicked in her brain. Whoa, they're way closer than I thought, and Danielle's not my number one. You know what I mean? Like X is her number one.
Yeah.
So, what did you think about that decision
Yeah.
from Brittany?
So I've seen things where people are either like trying to solely blame me for Danielle's eviction, or people are like solely putting the blame on Brittany for Danielle's or elimination. Honestly, I think there were 4 people involved in Danielle going home, and I think Danielle going home was the perfect cocktail of catastrophic misunderstanding.
Oh, okay.
And what I mean by that is, like, I think based off the information people had, they all felt like they were making the right decision based off the information they had. And ultimately, when the chips finally fell, it was just like, oh, well, this could have been different, or this could have been different.
Mm.
But you don't know that, like, that day, and I think this gets kind of lost in all this. That kind of Santa showdown, I would equate it to probably like a quadruple eviction, because like you go in and Santa showdown, then you have, I would say, probably like 2 minutes before the next person's going in. So you don't have a lot of time. That's why I'm trying to tell people, like, these aren't decisions that we're sitting on thinking about, festering, really set. Like, no, you have split second decisions that are going to affect someone's game. So when it came to, so Brittany was saying, like, I think some of this has to do with outside factors. No one wants to be known as the person who's solely responsible for sending Danielle Reyes home. So, like, you know what I'm saying? No one wants to be that person. And like, no one's gonna come out and say that, but I'm gonna just keep it real. No one wants to be responsible for being the sole person responsible for sending Brittany home. But like I said, I blame 4 people, and I'll break that down. I do put some blame on me, because I think either one, maybe I could have given her nothing, or maybe I could have worded things differently. I do think I could have maybe approached that differently in the information that I did tell Brittany, 100%. But my thought process was, I had already peeped that Danielle and Brittany were like cool. Like, the extent of their relationship, I didn't know Danielle thought Brittany was her number one, but like, I knew that they had a working relationship.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I got to give Brittany something. Like, I don't want to give Brittany nothing, because I've been giving her air up to this point, and I don't want to keep giving her air. I want to give her something. So it was like, okay, I'm not gonna. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, but I want to give her something. And I was like, okay, Brittany's working with Danielle. If I say that I'm protecting Danielle, and Brittany and Danielle are working together, I can't see her throwing in her ally. Like, if this is truly one of your allies, why would you throw in someone who's never going to come for you? And mind you, Brittany and I are on opposite sides. We're not on the same side. So Brittany is going to take anything that I say and try to use it to get the people that I'm working with to isolate me even more than I already am in the game. So, if I say I'm protecting Danielle, and she throws in Danielle, let's say Danielle comes back. Brittany, what did Xavier say to you? He said he was trying to protect you. Danielle's going to get all up in arms with me, saying like, hey, I was looking out for you. No. Hey, and then let's say like Taylor goes in. Hey, did Xavier say my name? No, he didn't. Let's say she sends in Josh. Hey, did X say my name? No, he didn't. So it was like, can't use anything against me with Josh. Can't use anything against me with Taylor. And if you do throw in Danielle, who is a number for you, it's like, okay, you're kind of damaging yourself there too, but you're also trying to take a shot at me, which is cool. But even if Danielle comes back, she's going to know that I was looking out for her. So in anyways, with the people that I think had the only incentive to work with me, I don't feel like I've given any of them incentive, if they stay, to really not want to work with me again in the future. Or maybe. But
yeah, I was thinking that, because like, did you go in being like, I want to stay as loyal as possible, because like, you're known for person, you're like, I don't want to really backstab if I don't have to.
Yeah. I think I was like, we're going to see who I end up working with. Once I had locked in with my 4 and I knew there was only 5, and the Reindeer Games takes 4, I was like, cool. I know who I'm looking out for moving forward with this season. And they were like Danielle Reyes, Taylor. I was like, I don't want to go against any of you guys. Like, not like I don't want to go against you guys in like a competition, but like I don't want to backstab y'all. Like,
Yeah.
I like y'all. So no, I'd rather not get super cutthroat. This is not, especially in some little holiday special. No, this ain't the time for that. But yeah, so like my thought process with that decision, but this is where, so I've talked about me, talked about me. So now let's get into, I'll say Brittany for last.
Okay.
Frankie and Nicole. No one's talking about the influence that they had on this decision. From the beginning of that day, what do you see when Danielle and I are talking on the couch? Brittany and Nicole go into the bathroom. They're already talking about they don't like that relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Like, yeah. So that's already planting a seed of doubt between Brittany's relationship with Danielle. Now, mind you, Danielle and I have no knowledge of this conversation. So Danielle's not thinking her and Brittany aren't good. I'm not thinking Danielle and Brittany aren't good. But Nicole, and I don't think she was doing this maliciously, or like Frank, like they already are kind of planting that seed of doubt in Brittany's head. So then when Brittany comes back, you see her run in there, and who's in her ear again? Nicole and now Frankie. And they're like, yo, who told X that I was going to throw him in? Which he would have. Like, Brittany, if you were one, you were going to throw me in, quit running. Who told X? And they were like, I don't know. It must have been Danielle. You hear them say that. And then Brittany pulls me in. So in my head, I'm thinking she's not going to send her ally, but I didn't know that there was already significant doubt that had been placed in her head from Nicole and Frank. This is not me saying Nicole and Frankie are like, we're aiming to get Danielle out, but they were planting seeds, or like what they were saying was putting seeds of doubt in Brittany's head.
Yep.
To where something that I thought might have worked is probably the worst thing now that I could say. Because Brittany's already got that seed of doubt between our relationship, and all I did was bring that home.
Yeah.
So that's Nicole and Frankie's involvement, which again, people are completely disregarding them. Like that wouldn't influence my decision. And then Brittany. So Brittany, I completely understand why she did what she did. I still don't think you throw out someone who's a number for you.
Yeah.
You throw in, and I would say the biggest reason for that is because Taylor volunteered.
Yeah.
If Taylor hadn't volunteered, then I think there's more culpability on me. But because Taylor volunteered, you could have thrown Taylor in and then figured out what the deal is with Danielle. If Danielle's like, yo, I'm keeping him around because if he wins, I can make sure he's not coming after you or me. If you think I'm Danielle's weapon and you have a good relationship with him, fill that out. Especially when a winner is volunteering themselves up on a silver platter. You throw Taylor in.
It's almost worse because Taylor volunteered. It almost feels more kind of backstabby, even though I know it's a game, but like, yeah, that was interesting. I was like, Taylor volunteered.
Yeah, the fact that Taylor volunteered, you could have, and mind you, Taylor makes it all the way to 2. She was 2 puzzles away from winning the game. So yes, that would have been a big shot. And you get no blood on your hands because Taylor asked you to throw her in.
Yeah.
So it was like, so that was where it was like, okay, Brittany, this kind of comes back to you, to where like, okay, you could have thrown Taylor in and then figured out things with Danielle for another day, which, mind you, Brittany, if you want to compete against Taylor or Danielle, you probably want to compete against Danielle more than Taylor. So why not take the shot at Taylor now?
That's the other good point.
Or if you want to stick to the girls, Josh is sitting right there crying. So like, you can take a shot at him too. I know they made a deal though, and I know Brittany's understanding was like, maybe this will bring them in closer. I get that. Like I said, it was a lot of misunderstanding, people thinking they're making the right move, and it just didn't work out that way, and it ultimately led to Danielle's demise. But like, for people to think that it is solely my fault or solely Brittany's fault, I think that's wrong. I think there were a lot of moving pieces in that just kind of not going Danielle's way. It was the perfect cocktail of catastrophic misunderstanding.
Yeah, and if she had 3 days to think about it, she probably wouldn't have done it. But like you said, it's just like you gotta go.
And that's the other, and that's where I'm like, people back off of like Brittany a little bit, because like she had to make that decision like that, and the roller coaster of emotion she was probably experiencing. She thought she was going out to lose. Then she triumphantly wins, by the way, which was amazing. Triumphantly wins, comes back, and now she's got to make a real quick game decision.
Yeah,
like that's a lot to kind of handle in and what I would probably consider her to be in a very emotional state.
Yeah.
So like, I get it, but like for people to just sit there and be like, "Oh, it's your fault," or "It's your fault," like, dude, sometimes things just don't go the way that you think they're going to go in the game.
Yeah,
they just don't. But yeah, so that was my thought process behind why I said what I said. But I didn't know that seeds of doubt had been planted in Brittany's head about my relationship with Danielle.
Mm,
And so it was like, yeah. I and then I was like, yeah, I can see why me saying that is like me stepping in it.
yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
Brittany would agree because she was saying too, like, she went in kinda paranoid. Yes, she had
Mhm,
met Frankie and Danielle, but it's kind of like she's seen them twice, so it's like, they're
mhm.
cool, but, like, they're not best so it's so interesting.
Oh yeah, no, and that's why you don't see me sitting here like Brittany was in power. She could have saved her. I'm not going to say that because like there's a
Yeah,
lot of moving pieces going to it. Like I said, I think four people ultimately had a hand in Danielle going home, and I'm not taking myself out of that. I said where I messed up. I also said where Brittany went wrong, and I also said how Frankie and Nicole had somewhat of a factor as well.
yeah, makes sense. Um, the other decision I just wanted to get your thoughts on was a lot of
Mhm.
people thought Taylor was gonna save you. I wasn't so sure. I was like, I don't
Between when she had two chances to save me.
know, the
Actually,
time.
she had three chances to save me. She saved me once. Which shout out to Taylor. Not seeing every Santa showdown I was up there. I was like, oh, safety, safety. And then Josh was in there. I was like, damn, I'm about to lose a number. Fuck. It was like good to be safe. And then I saw Josh starting to fall off. I was like, well, I'm on my own again. I was like, damn it, Josh. You had one job. Where's all that challenge prowess? Come on, brother.
It doesn't translate to the holidays, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, it was funny because like we'll get into your question, but it's just a quick little tidbit. Like Taylor's like trying to amp Josh up with this elimination. Like Josh, come on, you got this. Come on, you from the challenge, brother. You got this. Talk. How many eliminations have you seen? I was like, Taylor, that's not. That's not the argument. I was like, his elimination record is not what you want to use. Like
Oh
he's no, 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 no. I was like, don't go that route. Don't go that route. Just amp him up other ways.
gosh.
Oh, I love that little alliance. But continue, please.
No, no. Yeah, so I meant the time when she saved Nicole. That was the last one, right? Where
Yeah, after the second Jingle Bell Brawl, or
I
the first Jingle Bell Brawl on day 5.
damn, like
Yeah,
it's like a blur, but
I was,
um,
yeah.
yeah, I thought she would if she wasn't gonna pick you, I figured Brittany, and I've talked to Taylor about why she picked Nicole, but, like, did you think
Yeah.
she was gonna pick you, or were you like, "I get it, like, it's fine," in the moment?
Both,
Mm,
100%. So I think after talking with Taylor, I knew it was between me and Nicole, which is hilarious because like I talked to Frankie in the hot cocoa room, and I was just like, "Hey, so what are you thinking? How do you think it's gonna go?" And Frankie's like, "Oh, I think she's gonna save you or me." I was like, "You think Taylor's gonna save you?"
interesting.
Oh, buddy. I was like, well, what? And I was like, and I literally, I was like, Frankie, you trying to game me? You ain't got to do that. He was like, no, I honestly think like I haven't gone against her. Neither of you. I think one of us is going to be saved. I was like, pretty sure it's going to be me or Nicole. And he was like, what? You think she saved Nicole? And then when Nicole got caught, Frankie was like, I was like, if he's in there scheming and like in the DR, like I knew she was gonna pick Nicole, but I think he wholeheartedly was like, I think she's gonna save you or me. I was like, no. And like when she picked Nicole, and this is where like hindsight people would be like, well, should she have picked Nicole because you just guaranteed the winner a spot in the Reindeer Games who kicked both of our black asses when both of us had an advantage time wise. So like it didn't work out, but at the same time, in the moment, I was like, yeah, I understand it. I
Mm,
and like in the moment, I was like, oh, it would have been nice to be safe, but like, I'm not gonna come at Taylor and be like, oh, that was dumb, because like
yeah.
you go off the information that you have in the moment. That's really all you can do. In that moment, I knew she was gonna say me or Nicole. I was pushing hard, like you can beat me in things, and I was also pushing hard, like yo, we've been rocking together since day one. Let the other side of the house, because I was like, I can guarantee you, if Brittany had won, or if Frankie had won or if Nicole had won, I don't think you would have been safe. I think
Mm,
they would have sent you on to a future challenge to compete in. And here you are about to save one of them when they wouldn't do the same for you. And I do think there was also the factor, like I knew it was going to come down to me and Nicole. I thought, and like just looking at everybody there, I was like, maybe you save Brittany, because I think if you save Brit, but like at the same time, that's people I think somewhat underestimating Brittany.
mm,
Like if you save Brittany, you may have a better chance against Brittany. But so many of these, it was like it depends on what the competition is.
yep.
Like you can't fully know who to take and to what because you don't know what the competition is. Like, what if it was something that, like, for example, the first part of that final three part or the epic duel between Nicole and Taylor. What if the only part was just stacking things up and then having to reach really high? Taylor would win easy. Taylor wins, boom, saving Nicole looks great. So
Yeah.
it's it's always going to be something. Everything's always going to be subjective in hindsight.
Yep.
But like, do I understand why she did it? Yeah, it is what it is. And it was funny because like the whole season, you see like Nicole and Brittany very adamant they want to get me out, and then
Yep.
you see Taylor very adamant that she wants to get Frankie out. And like the whole time, like, see, if y'all had just come and did it yourselves, Frankie and I would have been gone long ago. Because Nicole takes me out and Taylor takes Frankie out. I'm just like, well, dang, maybe y'all should have just did it yourselves from jump.
Yeah, it was almost poetic.
Oh, it was. I was like, y'all been wanting this out all season, and lo and behold, it took you guys to do it.
Um,
So yeah, everyone's gonna like. I would say if I could give, I think there's a certain phrase that a lot of reality TV competitors just like need to really hear me when I say it. There's an old phrase that goes, "Those who can do and those who can't teach." When it comes to competing in the reality TV like kind of space, I would change that phrase. And I would say, "Those who can do and those who can't critique or criticize."
yeah.
Like those who can't criticize. I mean, like you're gonna hear a lot of flack from people who aren't in these situations. Like, take that with a grain of salt because they're not doing what you're doing.
Yep.
They're not under the situation. A lot of them have never even set foot in the Big Brother house, but talk like as if they've been in there and been in that pressure cooker and made decisions under the same circumstance. A lot of them haven't. Like some of these people on the podcasting space, some of the people, even some people who have been in the house. This is like someone who hasn't made it as far as Taylor is going to trash to Taylor. How does that make sense? She's won. You haven't. It's like so there's always
Easy
going to be opinions and people.
to critique, right? People love to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, those who can do, those who can't criticize. In the
Yep.
reality TV space, that's just what. If you're going to compete, keep that in mind. So when people are saying this was a dumb decision, why would you approach this competition this way? I don't know. Maybe I thought it would work. It didn't. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
That's okay.
And it's a domino effect. Like you can change one thing and then it affects
100%.
something else. And it's just like there's so many little things to it. And
Yeah.
even me, like as a fan, I feel like I criticize less and less as the years go on because I could never do it. And so like me coming and doing this and that, like please, I do out first. So who am I? So that's how I feel like it should be, but I know it's easier said than done.
it's all good. I know watching it because like I experienced it too. I'm like, why? I remember on BB25, I'm sitting there like, Izzy, why would you not use that information against Sari? Which like me sitting here, I'm sitting there like, why wouldn't you do that? But then again, and then I took a step back and I was like, you gotta remember you're in the game. Things always seem a little different than what they actually are. So like maybe don't be so harsh on her not using that information because maybe she thought that might have been best in the moment. But so I understand that knee-jerk reaction, but like I would say for anybody in the space, if you're hearing criticism from people who are just on like Reddit or like Twitter, X, aka Twitter, like if you're hearing criticism from those people and they've never even set foot in the house or can never do what you can do, don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just
Advice.
you're doing great.
Yeah, you're doing great. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And then did you have fun? Like, are you happy you did it, or are you like, eh?
I had fun whenever we weren't in like Santa's Lodge competing. Like when
That's,
we were in Santa's, huh?
I've heard it was really fun. Like when the cameras weren't on.
When we were off and like we would do like the car rides to the hotel, or we were kind of in that, we call it like the detention center. When we were in the detention center, hanging out, having meals and stuff, those were like the best times. That was so much fun. But when we had to like kind of get to the game, it was a little more like for me. By the time we got to the last day, I was so drained. Like I was, and I know Frankie was the same. Like we were both just like gassed. I was gassed because I was like, I've competed in everything. I'm tired. Like I was just like, I'm tired. Um, and so it was just like by that last day, I was exhausted, and like it was weird when Nicole beat me. It was like bittersweet. Like I was like, damn, I was almost there. But then I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to compete anymore. Oh my gosh, I get to just chill and spectate. This is great. Like it was a weird feeling because I've never had like a sense of relief in a competitive atmosphere, especially after losing. Like it was a weird feeling, but it was like it was truly like darn.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Those
Like,
comps didn't look they were no joke. I mean, I saw Nicole Franzel's
oh,
legs. They were
oh, they were no joke at all. These were some of the most difficult challenges I've ever had to do. Like you guys saw me sweating. Like,
and
like these.
aren't you coming off an injury, like, too? How are you feeling about
Oh, yeah, that was a so. And I don't. So I want to premise this.
Hmm,
I think in the competitive space, either you get it done or you don't.
hmm,
There are reasons why you might get it done. There are reasons why you might get it done. But ultimately, either you get it done or you don't. Like I went up against Nicole Franzel with my game on the line. I didn't get it done. I don't win. Um, and like that tree competition, I
hmm,
didn't think this was going to be a factor. I didn't at all. And
hmm.
then I'm sitting there and I'm holding the ball and my hands like just shaking. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm like, but like I'm also not trying to be like, hey everybody,
Yeah,
surgery's messing me up right now because that just sounds like an excuse. You
yeah.
know, my team wanted me to get it done. I didn't get it done.
Hmm.
But like, do I think this probably played a little bit of a factor when I was like looking at my hand? I was like, damn, that's not a good thing. Um, yes, but like ultimately, I just didn't get it done. But
Hmm.
yeah, coming into this, surgery was definitely something on my brain because I hadn't competed. I was like,
Yeah,
I have no idea if I'm at all where I'm gonna need to be competitively. Like I have no idea. And I don't know how physical these challenges are gonna be. I don't know. And like once you have like a major kind of athletic surgery, a big aspect of that is your confidence.
hmm,
Not only your confidence in like competing, but confidence that like you're not going to get hurt again. Like there's a certain fear block that you have to get past. That's tough.
yep.
Like when I first started doing the puzzle against Cam on the very first Santa Showdown, I was kind of like trying to move slowly because like I was like I don't want to push this too far and end up having to have another surgery again. And then it was getting to the point where I was like I could move back and forth between these things pretty fast if I just turn it up a notch. And then that's when you start seeing me like high stepping over the puzzle, and I was like screw it, I'm going all the way in.
Hmm,
And um so yeah, and then like so when we did that zip line comp,
yep.
this was hurting like hell. I was like, because I'm dangling and like my incision where the injury happened was like right here. And so when you stretch out the limbs, that's where it's like pulling on that new ligament. And I was like, oh my God. I thought about doing it in one hand, but I was like, is that going to look like I'm trying to be like a braggart? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I
It's
don't want to be like, oh, this is so easy kicking these pieces with one hand. Meanwhile, Brittany's like giving it everything she's got. I was like, nope, don't want to do that. But
good.
yeah, but like you know, at the end of the day, it was like either I'm gonna get it done or I don't. So like, don't sit here and be like, oh, surgery's the reason why I lost. No, either I knew my condition when I went into it. Either I'm gonna get it done or I don't.
Yeah. I knew it was a factor, but yeah, you didn't even mention it. It wasn't on the show or anything, but I was thinking about it. I was like, I know he just got
Yeah, no, because I don't. Because like, if I did that, then everyone's gonna be like, oh, he's just using it as an excuse for why. And like I told some of the people because like they would like see my scar and be like, yo, what happened? And I was just like, oh yeah, I had surgery earlier this year. They were
yeah.
like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, I tore my Achilles and then I tore the ACL of my wrist within about a month of each other, and then I had surgeries back to back, and then I was sidelined for pretty much up until now.
Came out of
Let's get
retirement.
after it, guys." Yeah, yeah. So let me ask you something, Sharon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let me ask you: did you feel like these comps were equitable? Because I know that's the big thing. Did you feel like these comps, like on any given challenge, anyone could like win?
Watching, yes. I think
Okay.
obviously there's gonna be some variance of like strength and like whatever, but like compared to what we've been seeing, I think it was way better. And I think Josh is the one that
Yeah.
told me they might even have a new guy doing it. So like I'm hoping we see some of this in Big Brother next year. And I liked the
All right.
safety chain or whatever you want to call it of throwing the next person in. Like that kind of stuff is interesting.
Yeah,
What do you
that
think?
that that hamster wheel kind of safety structure, I definitely think they need to use that because that forces drama. And like I
Yep.
said, it took like an already double eviction pace and turned it into like a quadruple like eviction because it just kept going until someone went home. Like that's crazy. That's
It
an
all
absolute
be.
that's so like just demented. Like that's so evil. And I was like, oh, once you're safe, you're like, oh, I love it. But when you're not safe, oh, this is miserable. Um, but yeah, I felt like every single comp that we had was equitable.
Yeah.
The only one where I was even kind of like shaking my head was the final Santa Showdown I went in with Brittany.
Mm,
On that one, and I even said it to Brittany afterwards. I was like, I was a little shocked that this was kind of what we ended up going against each other on. But then I had to remember, like, one, it wasn't like they knew it was going to be me and Brittany,
yeah.
and then started constructing this very complex kind of final competition. They didn't know it was going to be me and Brittany.
Hmm.
It was going to be whoever it was, and so like I go back and I'm like, yeah, it might have seemed unfair, but at the same time, no, it wasn't because like if it had been Brittany and Nicole, no one would be saying anything. You know what I'm saying? So like I think all the comps were fair. The only thing that kind of was a variable was just based on the competitive. Like, and I also think when like this might make people angry, but like when I think at times if a guy is going against a woman
Mm,
and like it seems like it's a comp that favors a guy's size, people are very much going to be like, this comp isn't fair. But then you had like Taylor and Nicole compete on the stacking thing where Taylor could reach up and Nicole literally had to jump, you know? So
yeah.
like,
I
but
think
like, no,
the comps back to back,
hold
if
up.
they see like leaning towards one kind of person or structure, but you're right. Like there's always going to be someone's taller, someone's their
Yeah.
center of gravity's lower. Like there's going to be those
Yeah.
variables. I think it's just when it's back to back comps that clearly favor.
Yeah. I think when you see it consistently, and that's where I'm like, I feel like people have been so conditioned by traditional Big Brother competition. So I can't even like be
Yeah,
mad about it. Like, I get why people would want to scream like that comp wasn't equitable. Actually, it kind of was because after all that kicking, I had to find the needle in the haystack. So it was like, geez. And then like also to like flip it, and again, you don't hear anybody saying this comp was inequitable. Let's go back to that balance beam from the first Jingle Bell Brawl. How many times did Big Ass Josh fall down? No one was like, "Oh, this comp isn't fair
yeah,
because it's Josh fault." You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know what Josh has struggled because like I was walking with my feet like this because they were way too big for that balance beam. But I know like Frankie didn't find that as much of a problem. I don't think Brittany did. I don't think Nicole did. But
yeah,
no one's sitting there like, "Oh, that competition isn't equitable because like it's coming at the misfortune of the bigger people."
yep,
So it's like every single comp was equitable. It just varies based off the competitor, and that's how it is. But like it was cool to see a bunch of competitions where you felt like anybody could win.
yep,
And I think so. I like that, and I think that will continue on because I think Big Brother season 25 was like okay, end of like kind of this first, I guess,
era.
quarter of Big Brother, and now era, and now we can start something kind of anew.
Yeah, I think that would be
And
great. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know. I agree. I think you're always going to get some variance, but as long as they're
yeah,
in comps that anyone can win, like you said, I think it's fair.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
like if every competition was like that last competition, like if they did like three in those in a row, yeah, y'all need to mix it up a little bit more. But
mhm.
like just on one competition where it just so happened that Brittany was going against someone long, I'm not going to scream that comp wasn't fair because if it was Nicole down there with Brittany, no one would be saying anything, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
So it's like I don't think the comp wasn't equitable. It's just Brittany got a bad draw on going against somebody who's 6'2", you know.
exactly. You had a good foot on her, I think, probably. Um,
Oh, I think I'm like, yeah, probably like a foot taller. My wingspan is 6'7". So like, yeah, Brittany, that's a very bad draw. I'm sorry. And I said it to her. I ran up to her. I was like, I am so sorry that you had to go against me against this because it was like, if she didn't perfectly have the strategy down from jump, it was going
yeah,
to be an uphill battle.
yeah. No,
Yeah. So
well, I don't want to take all of your time, but as we wrap up, like, was there anything you wish we saw? Any conversations, any behind the scenes stuff that you're like, oh, I kind of wish we saw that? Anything like that?
um I would so I mean, there were several things that kind of happened behind the scenes that they couldn't, a part of like the social or maybe I guess strategic aspect of that. Like one thing I constantly see was like, so when Josh and I volunteered ourselves to like take that um, penalty,
Yeah.
Taylor had just won the competition. She went in the DR room. So I go and I'm sitting with Josh. I was like, who do you think she's going to give that to? And they're like, oh, Frank. And like, mind you, people, when you're in alliance with someone else, your goal is to try to look out for them and keep them safe so that way they can return that in the favor. Like that's just how an alliance works. At least that's how a successful alliance works, which I don't know what I would know about that, but that's how a successful alliance works. So like she's in there and I'm talking with Josh. And I was like, I don't think she should give it to Frankie. I think she gives it to one of us because if she gives it to one of us, one, these disadvantages aren't that bad.
Yep.
And two, she's not pissing anybody else off. So if someone else wins the Jingle Ball Brawl, we don't want to give because at that point people were looking for whatever reason they could. So I was like, we don't want Taylor giving anybody a reason to look at her, least of all Frankie, who has a high probability of winning the competition. Like,
Mhm.
don't want to do that. So Taylor comes out of the DR. Frankie, I think, pulls me. So I was like, Taylor, go talk to Josh. And then Josh fills her on the plan. And then people were like, oh, yeah. Just getting to do it. I was like, dude, we're working together. That's what we're supposed to. We're supposed to look out for her. Are you what? Like, that's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to do. And then I saw Derek. Derek had a little clip. He went on rap because there was a time where we were walking out to that hamster wheel, and I pretty much was applying hella pressure on Nicole.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, they didn't show it at all. So before we even got started on the competition, everyone's looking at that hamster wheel and they're like, no, no, no. And so when they're doing that, I'm just kind of like, okay, she's gonna send me in. But Nicole had just made a deal with me that she wasn't gonna send me in. And
Mm.
so for me, I see because like Brittany had volunteered and then she backed out. And I was like, she might send in Frankie, but Frankie's also like kind of her guy. So I feel like it's going to lean towards me. And so I was just like, right while we were there, I was just like, you know what? I've been getting sent to the Senate Showdown a lot. If I'm going to get sent in, I want it on my terms.
Yep.
So then I announced to like everybody, I was like, hey, just so everyone knows, and no one had been applying any pressure to Nicole at all. So I was like, hey, just so everyone knows, Nicole made a deal not to throw me in first. So I just hope that she honors that.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, let's see what happens now. And I was like, I'll gladly go in second, which at the time I was perfectly fine with going in second because I
Mm.
was like, this way I'm at least going. If I'm going in, I'm going in on my own terms. And so Nicole sends in Frankie, this and that, and then when Frankie's competing, that's when Danielle started to tell me, hey, I think I want to go second, and I'm like, oh shit! I
Yeah.
just literally volunteered myself to go second in front of everybody, and she's like, I feel like for me to have the best chance at like competing in that and staying, I'd rather go with more time. And I'm like, shit. So this is when like I'm backtracking, and Frankie's like, do you want to go in? And I'm like, no, because I think Danielle wants to go in. I would rather her have more time and me have less time.
Mm.
And so that's what, and so like I'm like, so when I walk out there, and because I heard DX was like, oh, X is like, I thought this is what you wanted. I was like, DX, this is where you're an elf. Stay in elf land. Because like he didn't see the conversations being had about Danielle wanting to go in second. So I walk out there and I'm upset, not necessarily because I'm out there. I mean, yeah, I'm back in Santa Showdown. Not great. But at the same time, I was like, fuck, because now I'm like, that means 3 of my allies are left out of the 4 people, which means one of them may have to go in, and that's not a good situation because I'm gonna lose what little numbers I already have.
Yeah.
Like, so I was like, not too thrilled. And then I go to the hamster wheel. It takes me however long, get it done, boom, move on, and then Brittany goes in. But yeah, that was an aspect that I just wanted to provide some clarity for. Because DX made it seem like I walked out pissed solely because I was back in. And I was like, dude, I volunteered to go back in. I volunteered to go back in, but when we went back in the house, which is where you aren't, Danielle's like, I want to go second. And I'm like, damn it. Okay. Let's try to switch this up now. Okay. Shoot.
Oh my gosh. I've had like 3 or 4 conversations today and I don't remember who told me this and it might have been Brittany. I don't think it was you, but
Yeah.
I think she said, or someone told me that like you had said, or that you were very loyal to like, you were willing to go home for Danielle. Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would have gone home for Danielle. Like if there was, I mean, I think that hamster would have been a prime example, just because like if I had gone in with less time, I might have gotten it. But if you go based off my time, I would have been screwed.
Hmm.
But like, yeah, I think I would say people that I would have fallen on the sword for would have been Taylor and Danielle.
Yeah,
I
Taylor.
think I think Taylor. I think Taylor and Danielle, I probably would have fallen on the sword for one. It's a holiday special. I'm not thinking that deep. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not all winter season of Big Brother. All winter season of Big Brother. I'm like, hey, good luck. Like let's come on, like good luck. But on this thing, I'm like, so when I saw Taylor and Danielle there, which I had an idea that Taylor was going to be there, I didn't know Danielle. So I see Taylor and Danielle there. I'm like, okay, cool. Taylor and I won. Let's try to like maybe one of us can be the first two-time winner, so to speak. So to speak. I know people are going to get real kind of particular about that. I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, if you guys aren't going to consider Nicole the first two-time winner, then stop evaluating Reindeer Games from a Big Brother traditionally perspective. Like, either
Fair.
give her the credit of being a two-time Big Brother winner, or stop evaluating everything that people did in Reindeer Games like it's a regular Big Brother because it wasn't.
It's totally
So
different.
yeah, so like either split it up, or if you're going to conjoin it, Nicole needs to be recognized as the first two-time winner. Make up your mind.
Yep.
But with this, so yeah, with this, I was like, okay, cool. Maybe Taylor and I could be that. Cool. Maybe we could be that person. Or I was like, if we're not going to win, I would absolutely love to help Danielle get her first win. Would absolutely love it. And so if like we're right at the stretch, and I think Danielle might be able to win, and I just gotta, I would have been perfectly fine with it. I got my win already.
Mm.
Like Danielle, you inspired my win, which helped inspire Taylor's win, and you inspired Taylor's win. Like
Yeah.
for me, it was like if I could do something to help you finally get the win that I know you've been like wanting so bad, I have no problems doing that. It's not that deep for me. It's 100K, which is like, oh, that would have been nice for 10 days. You know, it's
Yeah.
not like it's not good money. It was like, oh, I was right there. But at the same time, it was like I would love to be able to be like Danielle Reyes finally got her first win, and I was able to help her get it.
That
So
would
yeah,
have been cool. It would have been cool to see. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, like falling on the sword for them, I wouldn't have felt any type of way. And again, I didn't view this as something that people were gonna evaluate and be like, oh, this person sucks at Big Brother. Now if they didn't show out on Reindeer Games or something like that, which like anybody who I think made it to the final four, I don't know how you could sit there and hate on them. Like everyone made it in different ways and showed different facets of their game to get them there. It is what it is.
It is what it is. X don't. Yeah. The people that are.
Oh no, I trust me. I was like, man, people were like, you're like, well, let's see. I've been on 3 shows. I won one. The other one I lost because of what I had just did.
That,
and then and then this show, the main thing I was hearing after winning on Big Brother was like, oh, if he didn't have the cookout, he never would have made it far. And like I was targeted from day one, and I still made it to the final day. It was like it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty. It was a gruesome uphill battle, but I still made it.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
actually happy
So like,
that they got their licks back in the challenge, because whatever, you lost that one because of that, but like now it's a clean slate. You play good.
oh my gosh. I was for the BB23 people, I was like, just so y'all know, we even. So like either we're gonna work together or we ain't.
Yeah.
But like as far as like the friendship ties, the only people that I would be like, I'm not coming for y'all ever, that the people that I would give like the Taylor and Danielle treatment is probably Tiffany and Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
They
Okay.
they would probably get that same type of treatment. Because if I can help them win, it's kind of one of those things I'm like, y'all my girls. So like
Yeah.
sword, uh, like I uh, but
Okay.
that's why I'm all like I'm secretly trying to avoid playing games with people I know.
Yeah.
Because like I don't like I want to be able to backstab someone and not really care about it. You know, like the last couple of every single show I've done, I felt like to some degree, and most of this is just me doing it to myself, but to some degree, I felt like I can't. Like there's certain people that like I can't touch.
Mm.
Like on this show, I was like, I can't touch Taylor or Danielle. I'm not gonna do that. No, I'd rather see us all get there.
Yeah.
And then on the Challenge USA, I was like, y'all are my friends. Like, I don't want to stab y'all in the back. Like on Big Brother, I didn't know any of y'all. I didn't care. Everybody can get it. I didn't know y'all. But then y'all are my friends. And then on this show, it was like Taylor and Danielle. So I want to go on a show where no one knows me and I know nobody. Because then I'm like, I can get everybody. Now I can have fun. But we'll see. I don't know. At this
I think
point, I'm
maybe
tired.
maybe the traders. You wouldn't know anyone. Maybe no Big Brother people. Probably. Maybe one. That would
Maybe
be
so. The last 2 seasons, they've had at least 2 people from Big Brother.
cool.
So that makes me kind of like
But
I would probably go on there with somebody else who might know me.
they might know you, but like maybe they'd throw you in there with like not someone from your season, like
Yeah,
random.
yeah, yeah. I'd love to see. There were several people from this season of Reindeer Games I would love to see on the traders.
Like
So two people who I think would actually be really great at the traders, I think, and I think people aren't gonna. Maybe people consider this, but I don't think people will. I think Nicole Franzel would crush it on the trader as a trader. I think if because she has this ability to kind of make people underestimate and underwhelm her, and then like I don't think anyone would suspect her of like backstabbing people. She just kind of has that presence about her. She seems almost innocent.
yeah.
So I think she would make an absolutely brilliant trader, and I also think Danielle would be a great trader.
Yep.
If people don't know who Danielle is, I think she would perform very similar to like how Sari did.
Yeah. And
But if they know who she is, she might be in trouble.
yeah, I just don't know how much like these housewives are watching Big Brother. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So,
So like I think Danielle and Nicole would be good. And
yeah.
then for Reindeer Games, I'd love to see. There are people that I would love to see on like a future season of that too.
Yeah. I want to
Um,
play.
you said who?
Rachel Riley, I'd like to see her play.
Give me Rachel. I want to see Mike Brunner come back. I'd love to see him compete. I think him and I would love to see him and Frankie like square off in Santa Showdown. I would love to see that. That would be like a heavyweight fight. But like I would love to see Mike. Jag, I think I want to see because like I got to see Cam, and Cam was kind of the person who was preventing Jag from winning so many competitions. So I would be curious to see like how like Jag, can you compete your way again, or like how does it work?
Yeah.
Um, for my season, I'd like to see. I would actually like to see like Christian and SB, two of my former kings. I think they would do really well.
Where is
Um,
I feel like she's got to come out of hiding and she's great on TV.
look, some people, you got to remember though. Sometimes you come out and like the reception is great.
Oh, no.
Sometimes you come out to some heat. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? So like you come. She was like the main antithesis. She was one of the people that was mainly targeted by the AFP of the season. So
fair.
sometimes you come out and you're revered. Sometimes you come out and you come out to heat, and that can very much deter people from doing future shows. But I would love to see her come and do something like Reindeer Games. I think she'd be great.
She'd be fun. She'd be fun dressing up and everything. Christian's also a really nice guy. He probably would do well.
Yeah, yeah. I think Christian would do well. I think people who would do well on that game are people who I think competitively are like solid, but they're not the first people who come to your brain. So, and because Christian's pre-jury, he might not come to your brain initially. And like SB, I think would be in these type of comps. I think she would do very well. So
Yeah.
like that's where I think those two would do good. So yeah, I'm curious. I hope they bring it back because so I can see other people go through it.
I'm sure. By the way, before things keep popping up.
Let's get into all of it. You can edit and splice.
I know. How much did you hate the costumes, or were you like whatever?
So the only aspect that I kind of disliked about the costumes was like when we're competing, it's not like allowing me to like I'm hanging from a zip line in a tie, dress shirt, and a vest. Like I need to be able to move right now. I'm not going to a like Mrs. Claus's formal. Like I'm trying to move, and I'm in like jeans. When we did the first puzzle, I was drenched in sweat because I'm moving back and forth, and I'm in a damn holiday sweater. Now, granted, the holiday sweater but it was so hot. I was sitting there like I had to tie my hair up because I was going to be sweating. So I was like, yeah, let's keep it put. Like some of them work for the competition, but some of them it's like if we're getting a little more mobile, I don't want to be wearing all these layers. Like I want to be chilling, especially because like we were thinking that Frankie called it liquid transfer, but I call it slip and slide. The competition where you take like the ground's all slippery and people are running back and forth trying to fill up the thing with like that goo.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a competition. I was petrified at the thought of doing that.
Why?
I didn't want to do that at all. Purely because I feel like that was like injury waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Fall the wrong way, put my hand down, boom, back in the surgery chair. And I was like, yeah, nah. I was petrified of that potentially happening. So I didn't want that at all. But
I'm surprised.
So Danielle,
I'm surprised they still do that one because it is very like you can easily break your wrist on that.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous competition. Like I think they need to get rid of that computer because like it's funny seeing people fall.
Yeah.
But like you're also subjecting some of these like I remember who was it? I think it was Frankie. He was like on 16 when we did that and people came back And he was like, they could not move the next day. Like they were so sore and banged up. I was like, yeah, I have zero desire. If that competition would have popped on, I would have been like,
Sit out.
ah. I would have been, I would have just been going on that first Jingle Bell Brawl with the balance beam. I was like, I'm not winning this. I'm just focusing on not getting injured. Because
Yeah.
we saw Cody take that tumble. I was like, yeah, I don't want that to be me. That looked like it hurt.
You could have broken
So
like
yeah, I was like, yeah, but that and I was like, Cody's, I think like 5'10". Josh kept falling off. I was like, if one of us bigger guys goes down, it's gonna be OVO. I don't want that. Not on day one.
yep, totally fair. Any other questions? Anything I missed or anything you wanted to get off your chest or anything that you felt was misunderstood? I feel like we covered a lot. I'm trying to think.
No, I feel like we covered everything. And like I said, I'm sure anything I say, whenever I come and give an explanation, the first thing people say, "Oh, he's a lawyer. He's going to be good at reworking it and kind of," you know what I'm saying? That's always it's going to be a thing. Like, oh, of course he's going to try to, ooh, if it somehow makes sense in their head what I'm saying. Oh, of course he's going to come and kind of repaint the narrative like I'm this stellar politician. So it's going to be what it's going to be. But no, I think anything I've needed to say, I've said, or anything
Yeah.
I feel like I've wanted to say, I've said. But I also don't feel like I need to prove myself to anybody. I've done 2 shows in the Big Brother universe. I made it on the podium on both of them. Wasn't the flashiest, wasn't the most entertaining, but you know, first and third, I'm first and tied for third. Me and Frankie tied for third. So first and tied for third. I'm not disappointed in that, and I would say I'm proud of how far I made it.